Do you like survival games? Do you like mushrooms? Do you perhaps have offspring? If these seemingly unrelated things apply to you, well, my friend, you may just be in the right place. Welcome to Dad's XP. My name is Perk, and on today's episode of Should a Dad Play Indie, we'll be taking a look at a game called Obensuer. So as you may have noticed, Should a Dad Play Indie is going to be a brand new series from us. We're going to look to sprinkle it in here and there, but if you want to support it, go ahead and leave us a like, a comment, and subscribe, and let us know what kinds of games you want to see us review in the future down below. Obensuer is a game that is unlike anything I've really played before. I've played a lot of simulation games, and I've played a lot of survival games, but nothing quite to this extent, or should I say to this extent as in the mixture of the two. It's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly what this game wants to be, but it does all the things that it wants to do very well, in my opinion. The name of the game, Obensuer, is a play on the words open sewer. It's a city where it is rampant with homeless people, people who are afflicted by a mushroom illness, sort of like The Last of Us, except for without the zombies. They also use said mushrooms to cook with, to drink. They use it as a drug, lots of different ways that they use it. Some people are addicted to it, some people are not. And they use those kinds of things to like sort of branch that into gameplay. So when you make your character, you kind of will choose like things that your character is addicted to, like smoking or drinking or mushrooms. And these have different effects on, how you're going to approach the game. And these are not necessarily permanent either. These are things that you can learn to get rid of if you're willing to deal with the negative side effects of depriving your character of those things. One thing I wasn't really entirely sure of when I started the game is like really what to expect. I mean, it kind of sort of sells itself as like all these different things. So you're not really sure exactly what you're, walking into when you boot this game up. It does have sort of a horror vibe to it, which initially I had thought was just something I kind of had in my own head, but then as I progress through the game, it becomes a little bit more obvious that there are some horror elements to the game, although they're very subdued. Premise of the game essentially is your character has arrived in Obensuer. You've been transported there just like everybody else who lives there. They've been moved from some other region to there for various different reasons. None of them are usually good. And nobody really wants to be there. I mean, these are people who are neglected by their government. The government wants to eradicate the drug problem, the mushroom problem, but based on how things look when you get there, nothing is truly being done about that. And due to a clerical error, your character has been given a rundown, and I mean very, very rundown hotel for which you are somehow now the owner of. So, from that point, once you've discovered, that you're stuck in Obensuer, you've got this hotel that you now own apparently. The game does not tell you what to do at all, really. It expects you to explore and find out on your own, and this can be frustrating for a lot of people. For myself, it was a bit frustrating. As I started to make my way through the game, I'm trying to, survive. You gotta drink water, you have to eat. If you're, addicted to anything, you need to smoke, drink alcohol, things like that. So initially starting out, it felt very challenging just to keep all of my wants sort of above board, like a Sims character. And I couldn't even really focus on exploring or trying to upgrade the hotel. I didn't even know how I could do that, how that, like, you even go about that. So this game wants you to figure it out, which is something that initially I didn't like, but as time went on, that grew to be one of the things that I liked the most about this game. So let's talk a little bit about the visuals of the game and sort of the atmosphere that they are setting. Like I talked about before, the world is very like dilapidated and run down. But visually, from a graphics standpoint, the game is really cool looking. I think that the style that they went with is really awesome. It's sort of like a semi-realism style, I suppose, if that's even what you can call it. But it is very, there's something about it that feels interesting visually. The way the maps are designed, the way that characters look, they look kind of goofy. They talk like Animal Crossing characters almost. It has this vibe where I don't know. There's something mysterious about it that I really, really enjoyed. I don't think that everyone will like it. I think that the Animal Crossing voices probably will be something that some people don't like. Personally, I was fine with it. I don't really care. So I think overall, visually, it's enjoyable to look at. It looks like something that I don't know. It's like dare I say, an indie game. It looks like an indie game, but one that I want to enjoy. And sound-wise for this game, I mean, I would say middle of the pack. There's some good music in the game, nothing insane. The sound effects are pretty good. Some of them are a little jarring, but I think for this kind of game, ultimately, it's a perfectly acceptable level of quality. In terms of story, this game doesn't necessarily have a main narrative plot, but more so a lot of smaller storylines that you can follow to different avenues and different conclusions. Now, I think that there is a possibility that ultimately it does all culminate into one sort of ending, or they may all tie together at some point, but I was not able to finish the entire game because it is quite difficult. But what I will say is that after you're done managing your hotel and sort of building that back up and kind of getting your footing in this world that is harsh and cruel, there is a lot to explore. There is really cool stuff out there if you take the time to look around and just see, what the game has to offer. I do think it's worth delving into the quest lines of the NPCs and sort of exploring at your leisure, but also, make an effort to progress those lines because things do get kind of crazy and in a way that you might not necessarily expect. Now, I can't really talk about this game without talking about a major part of it, which is the sim part of it. And what I mean by that is the sort of hotel manager part. I say hotel, but I mean it's more of an apartment building, if anything. Like, you're in charge of several buildings, and the building is incredibly dilapidated, and there is someone living there already, and he sort of helps you get your footing in the world and things like that. Once you make some progress in the world and eventually get enough materials to fix up one of your apartments to be rentable, and you start gaining some passive income, that dopamine hit starts coming in, and you're like, okay, I gotta do this. I gotta fix the electric. I gotta get the heating. Why don't we work on the basement? Let's get another room up for rent. All these things, it just starts spiraling, and if you've ever played a sim game before, then you probably know what that feeling is like, and it's very, very rewarding. And you have your own room within the apartment complex that you can decorate and all that stuff. And that kind of thing does have an effect on your character's sanity. There's a lot of intricacies in this game that I think, a game of this caliber probably don't often have. Like the way that you shop at a grocery store where you have to check out and like you can't leave. Like you're picking things up and it says you're stealing them, but you're not. You just haven't paid for them yet. So it's okay to pick them up, even though it says you're stealing, as long as you don't try to walk out the store without putting them on the counter first to pay for them. Same thing if you go to the pharmacy, things like that. So this game has a lot of really cool mechanics, and it's just such an interesting and fun world that, if you got some time and you have Steam, I say check it out. So overall, I'm going to give Obensuer a 7.5 out of 10. I think if you're looking for something visually interesting, gameplay-wise very interesting, something truly unique that it feels like an experience that hasn't been replicated or, pulled from something else, I think Obensuer is a fantastic way to spend your money. You can get as much or as little as you want out of it. You can just play it for the survival aspect. You could play it for the sim aspect, whichever way you want to do it. And either way you want to do it, I think you'll have a great time. If you like this review, make sure you leave us a like, subscribe, and comment down below if you want to see us review one of your favorite games. My name is Perk, and if you're wondering should a dad play, I say